People from all over the country come here to see this place.
You can actually go out there and imagine what it was like to be a soldier in the Revolution, what it was like in the 17th century to farm.
Mainland is the oldest continuously farmed ground here in the United States.
It's 3 generations that are farming there on that land now, and hopefully there'll be 3 more.
This is a very rare situation in this country where you have a battlefield you can side over and see the same tree lines, the open ground where troop movements occurred.
All of those things come together to make it a real, true exercise in living history.
Mainland is the oldest continuously farmed ground here in the United States.
It's also part of a series of pieces of land which were important for some battles of the Revolutionary War.
The land has been recognized as being very important to state and American history. So many layers here to be studied and seen.
Agriculture, biology, history, geology, you name it. There's a lot to learn out here, given that it was some of the first land that has been cropped, and arguably today probably has some of the most advanced technology being used on this farm than anywhere in the nation.
It is a reminder of our rural past and the agricultural importance of the community.
It adds to the beautiful landscape and why tourists come here and why people want to live here. So it's a real treasure that it's in our community.
The history is really widespread. Jamestown, and with Mainland Farm in the middle of it, has been sort of the point at which it all expanded outward.
Just a few days after they landed at Jamestown in May 1607, George Percy, with a party of others, made his way through this very landscape on the Great Road connecting Jamestown and the mainland.
The thing about Mainland Farm is that it combines a couple of important characteristics in the county. One is that it is the place found to be the first home of farming on the mainland of the United States by the English settlers. And so historically it has importance from that perspective, but it's also part of a series of pieces of land which were important for some battles of the Revolutionary War.
July 6, 1781, the Battle of Green Spring took place on this landscape. Some very important figures, of course, met here: Lafayette, General George Washington, and Comte de Rochambeau, who then proceeded to Yorktown for the battle. Men camped, fought, and some died to recognize honorifically the importance of this landscape. We placed it on the National Register of Historic Places in 1973, as well as the Virginia Landmarks Register.
Give a great deal of credit to that former Board of Supervisors that had the vision to work out a plan to purchase the property. Over the years, the thing that concerned me about the farm was that we had not taken permanent steps to protect it from development that might destroy its basic character.
It wasn't protected, so it still was very vulnerable to development and change.
The board's initiative decided that they wished to go ahead and find an organization to hold a permanent conservation easement.
It also stimulated a lot of community interest and was the precursor to the founding of the Williamsburg Land Conservancy.
There is now a permanent conservation easement held on the property by the Williamsburg Land Conservancy.
The Williamsburg Land Conservancy is honored that we've been chosen to hold the easement.
Very little, if any, development will take place. It's immediately across one of the most historic roads in the country, being Green Springs Road, immediately adjacent to the Jamestown Beach property, which is adjacent to the state settlement, which is adjacent to Jamestown Island. It's all one contiguous conserved area now.
We will proudly be stewards of this land.
David Hula, who farms the land, is an exceptionally successful farmer. His dedication and passion for farming and his incorporation of the latest scientific techniques, it's remarkable.
David is the family leader who's pretty much the manager and makes the principal decisions on the farm.
He's done above and beyond to try to use good stewardship of that land to be able to have productive fields.
We'll plant soft winter wheat. It's not for the bread that everybody thinks, it's for the good stuff like Twinkies and cupcakes and those type pastries. Most of our soybeans are sent to a crushing plant to where they're crushed for soybean meal, and then they also extract the oil from it. And then the soybean meal goes to the feed industry. And that may be locally here in Virginia, or it may be shipped outside of the country, exported. Most of our corn goes either to the swine industry or the poultry industry from this area. And then oftentimes some of the soft red winter wheat gets loaded up into port there in Norfolk and is sent to Egypt. So we're a global area as well.
When I look at what's going on this farm, I get really excited.
Being so close to the watershed, that's where some of the most recent soil is. Half of the farm is a Pamunkey soil type, so that's the best soil we have in the state. And we like to also think that because we're close to the river, that has a tendency to bring more rain in the summertime when we have drier months. Water likes water.
Consequently, he has a really good environment for growing crops. One of the practices that have been pioneered in this area, and David Hula is one of the pioneering farmers, is what we call continuous no-till.
Any of the water that leaves mainland farms, because of our tillage practices being no-till, now we call it never-till because we haven't worked it up since we've been farming there, that water's clean. So as we realize the James River is a tributary of Chesapeake Bay, we're doing our part to clean the bay.
We're preserving and we're building that organic matter in the soil by not doing tillage. This farm right here is a large sponge that absorbs a lot of water before it gets into the James River. You can see the organic matter that's built up on the surface here. You can see how it just kind of falls off, and there's all kinds of pore space through here. This is what absorbs the water. This is what provides the superior yields out here, and this land hasn't been tilled for many years. And David Hula is not only known for continuous no-till, but intensive nutrient management, cropping rotations that generate a lot of biomass. This residue right here is wheat residue. The grain has been taken off the top with a special type of combine, and that's the straw left behind. So that crop was here last year, and then before that was corn, and here's a corn stalk right here, and you can see that residue. And what we have growing here now are soybeans, and this is a really nice specimen of a soybean plant, and you can see the bean pods right here, and that's what's growing here. So this is what we call a crop rotation, intensive crop rotation. Corn followed by wheat, followed by soybeans, so that's 3 crops in 2 years.
Farming has been through a lot of changes over the last quarter century or so, and so it was good to have a farmer who really knew his business.
Arguably today probably has some of the most advanced technology being used on this farm than anywhere in the nation.
You go up into what I'd call the cockpit of his machinery, and you feel like you're flying a 747 or dealing with the latest NASA imagery. He is just on the cutting edge of everything.
The high-tech equipment that they use now, it's just amazing how technology has changed agriculture over the years.
He uses techniques that are very environmentally sound, and we can both farm property, conserve property, and protect the environment if you've got a farmer that knows what they're doing and really does it the right way.
The fact that it's protected now is just paramount to keeping him there and continually farming.
He's somebody who shows that preserving agriculture isn't just about the past. It's also something very critical for the future. And he's very open in terms of showing folks how agricultural techniques have evolved over time and what he can do to get that enormous crop yield that he achieves that wins him national awards year after year.
Mainland Farms has been recognized both nationally as well as in the state of Virginia for high yielding crops, both being corn as well as wheat crops.
David Hula has set some national records on corn yields in the National Corn Yield Contest.
300 bushels of corn, that's something that you really only hear about in the Midwest. Well, corn is grown in the eastern part of the U.S., particularly in Virginia. So that was a really big feat to have 300 bushel dryland corn at Mainland. The Virginia Small Grain Association puts on an annual yield contest, and one year the highest yield came off of Mainland. We more than doubled the state average.
I couldn't tell you how many awards David has. If you're in the agricultural crop production, commodity crop production world, and you set world records in corn, that gets a lot of attention.
It's just, been farmed since the early 1600s. It's still being highly productive.
One of the very best things about Mainland Farm is that it's not a museum piece. It's not just something that people can go to and look at. It's something they can really experience.
You can be out there, you can drive by it on beautiful Green Springs Road and see it from your car, but you can be out there on the property, watching the farming taking place, watching the wildlife.
They put a bike trail around the perimeter of Mainland Farms, and then they also put a bike trail right between Mainland Farms.
Many people are out there every day. Part of the Capital Trail that goes all the way to Richmond. It goes from Richmond to Jamestown right through Mainland Farm.
It's also adds to the tourist base. As you know, right now people ride their bikes and go do all kinds of outdoor activities there, and they don't always recognize really the value of that land there.
It's always interesting to me to see all of the people who are utilizing the farm in one way or another, the bike trail that comes along through a multi-use path, the historic markers that are placed there, the horse farm right across the street. They all come together to make a really nice rural piece of the community in what is just a few blocks down the road, a much more congested and urban-like setting. Mainland Farm represents a commitment by the community. The community is expressing its values in the preservation of Mainland Farm.
Saying we support permanent conservation of certain iconic lands that made this place what it is and why we live here. So as long as people can remember and be reminded why it's there and how it got there, and it got there because they supported a program to get it there, I think that's the most important thing to me.
It's important for young people and even adults to understand that food doesn't come from the supermarket. It comes from the farm.
It allows the county to maintain some water quality benefit. It minimizes the amount of urban development, and then it also gives the county an opportunity to showcase to their citizens there in the county of, what is agriculture like.
I enjoy coming out here and thinking about how this land has evolved over time, and that it's a big part of our heritage, and it kind of gets me excited.
It's been a humbling honor to manage Mainland Farms, because not only do you get to reap the benefits of the crops because you have some good soil, but we also get to interact with the urban areas.
Our grandchildren are going to be out there many years from now. They'll be able to stand on this conserved property and see what it really looked like as those settlers came there many years ago.
I'm very proud as a citizen here in this community, and also recognize the efforts of all involved to protect that piece of property.
Come out and enjoy, just use the trails, landscape that remains, but also to pick up a little bit on the history and the nature of this place.
It is a reminder of our rural past and the agricultural importance of the community, and just a kind of a very reflective area of peace and tranquility in what's become a very busy community.